What is up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of AOS Trash Pandas. I'm one of your hosts. My name's Rob. And with me, as always, is my co-host from another mother, Carson.
Hi.
Hi. we're right off into the back.
Insight. Yeah.
Yeah, let's keep things awkward.
Yeah. Let's make sure that there's just no good cadence, no good flow to this stream. Just always abrupt stops and awkward silence. That's how I like to do things.
Do what you love. Never work a day in your life, first of all.
Yep.
Second of all, they say if you do something well, never do it for free. And thirdly, never make your hobby your job. Also kind of applies here because I don't know. But
well, it's good that you don't know, because we need more awkward silence.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
You can count on me, Carson. You can count on me.
There is a rumbling though in the meat dimension.
Oh,
let's see what today's blessing is. Ooh, what's this? We've got a Waypoint Hazy Pale Ale from Stanley Park Brewing.
Stanley Park.
Stanley Park's pretty good. It's a nice place. I go bike riding there sometimes.
They actually make great beer though, that company. Like, they are consistently making good stuff.
It's all really all over my I agree. Good beer.
I mean, we almost went a minute there without being awkward and weird, so I appreciate it.
Can't have that.
Yeah.
Can't have that.
Yeah. Consistency is key.
Exactly.
Even in weirdness and awkwardness. Did you see the rumor engine?
I did. This is an interesting one because, like, the first thing that someone might think is that's like a bloodletter skull, or something like that, or like a corn skull of some kind.
That's what I thought, actually.
But if you look at it, obviously we're talking about the skull on the right here.
Wait, what?
If you look at it upside down, it's actually like a beast's skull with horns going upwards, with things going up the side, because you can see the teeth at the top too. And you can see that a regular human skull has just been tied to the top of that skull to make it look like a bloodletter's skull.
Oh, maybe.
And I don't know if that's what a bloodletter is supposed to be. It is a demon, so I guess it could be like literally anything. But it kind of just looks like someone took a regular like beast skull,
right,
and then a human skull, cracked where like the interface area would be, put them together, and then just tied them.
I hear ya. Well, and then I feel like the head triangle thing, the head ruin, is also probably like a key, or like a hint. I think it's something chaos. Yeah,
I think that's a safe bet for sure. I don't know what that symbol is though, on that little stone tablet thing.
I don't either. The symbol on the stone tablet did remind me of like vampire-y kind of stuff, but nothing else about this really screams vampire to me at all. It's a good one though. I don't know. I like it because it could be anything. Like it's not like it's the tip of a horn and you're just like, okay, thanks, right? Like, they've shown us enough, and I think they've given us enough clues, but I still don't know, and so it just allows my imagination to kind of run wild a bit.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting because, like, this is clearly fancy, like the fancy terrain piece of someone's base. Right. And usually you only get that when it's like a really special character.
They're doing it more though. They're doing it more now. Like, it could actually just be like a Warcry or like an Underworlds thing, or not a Warcry. Actually, I should say. Well, they do that for the Warcry, you know, like even this like little Terrawing guy has actually, you can't see that, can you? He's got like a branch. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Or like the Slan. I don't know. Is this, so below that though, is that like basing paste or something like that, or is that like part of it? because the tablet is there,
Yeah, I think this is like a rock
right?
that's like on
Oh,
on
could
a
be.
base, but
And they
because if you look at like
photoshopped out
oh yeah, that's true. It could be photoshopped out
the
for sure.
side, right?
Yeah.
That's although, and it is the tablet's a little recessed. Dead cow farmer faction incoming. I mean, honestly, like you joke, but like what kind of, that would be kind of crazy. That would be kind of awesome actually. It's like if they went really wild and there was some kind of farmer like demon worshippers or just something really crazy like that would actually be kind of dope.
It kind of reminds me of what Dan did with his Beast of Chaos conversions,
That's true.
where it's like humans with like the skull masks and stuff like that. Like, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and that army is it came out in a battle report today. Already very popular. Yeah, it's exciting. I saw someone said, "Look, where's the mob pit?" in like a comment on the Facebook page, and then I think they deleted it or something because like I think they realized that like we don't, you can't like film them like the day that these things come out practically.
Yeah.
So yeah, we filmed it like almost 2 weeks ago, I think.
Yeah, my mob pit's also not done yet. It's
on the way.
It is on the way. I'm gonna disappear into the meat dimension for a second here. Oh, I didn't even disappear. Hello.
I live for that camera moment.
Yeah, it's going along pretty well.
Dude, it looks dope so far. Yes.
So I'm basically just gonna like finish up this rock here, all the bone pieces, and then that's pretty much it. And then I'm gonna do this thing where like I've added some hooks like to the top of these, as you can see.
Oh, is that not there?
Nope, that's not normally there. And then I'm gonna hang like that jewelry chain that I usually hang, and have like meat hanging as well. And then I'm gonna have one chain running down the middle, and have a guy like hanging over the center of the maw,
Yeah.
just like swaying back and forth.
Hell yeah. That is awesome.
Yeah.
I look forward to it. Whoosh. And you came back for more awkwardness, I hope. That's sweet. I am working on a few things at once. And I will talk about something I'm just about to start when we get into the topic du jour. But first, there is more news. So really exciting. They're doing a preview. You literally predicted the preview, like that they were going to do it at there. I'm sure other people did too, just to be fair. I'm sure other people out there did, but it was a good guess. Like it was an educated guess, and you were right.
I mean, they told us they were going to do that, so I didn't predict anything. But
did they? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. So just to make things clear, I'm not a
You are.
Here.
Well, you are, but this is the first time you've ever done it about Warhammer. Yeah. Meat Hammer. So when I looked at this graphic originally, I was like, wait, 40K in the old world are on Friday and then the other ones are on Saturday? And I was like, oh, wait a minute. This is just the different times. Yeah, the time zones. So it's 7 p.m. PST. You're going to be there because you are playing in the World Championship, but I am not. I don't know why. I never got the invitation for some reason. So I'm going to try and do a reveal show. You will not probably be joining me, but maybe after or something you can come in. We have no idea. Probably not. We'll just say, we don't want anyone to get their hopes up, Carson, right? But yeah, so I'm hoping to do that. Hopefully you guys can join me. 7 p.m. PST on Friday. So yeah, that's super exciting. We know that they're going to show FEC because they released that Halloween video that was amazing, by the way. Let's continue the streak of AOS getting more exciting reveals than 40K. I mean, it's kind of like, I think that happens every time. Like, just because like the models are better. I sound so elitist.
Yeah, I'm seeing more and more like posts on Reddit and stuff like that of people saying like, "Hey, I'm coming from 40k, just checking out AOS. Like, which army should I start?" That sort of thing. And it's been like more and more and more frequent to the, like I see it like literally every day now, and sometimes multiple.
Yeah, I'm seeing it too in the different factions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And part of me almost wonders, and this is not true. This is not going to be true what I'm about to say. But part of me wonders if GW like intentionally made 10th edition kind of bad in order to transition people over to Age of Sigmar. To be like, okay, these people have already bought a whole bunch of models and they're not going to buy anymore. What if we make the system that they play bad, and the other system just attractive enough for them not to quit the hobby as a whole, but to instead transition to the other system to buy more models?
I have to keep reminding myself that you said this isn't true, by the way.
It's not true. But that's what I think.
So. Maybe they're like subconscious to it. Because we're like, we're making amazing models for AOS anyway, so we might as well, right?
Yeah. But the thing is, like, no one hates the new 40k 10th edition. People like,
no,
I've
that's
heard
true.
grievances about it. There's like, it's not great. I don't like it very much. So it's like just unpleasant enough not to make someone quit the hobby.
People are gonna really think you mean this.
It's not true, but I kind of am starting to believe it.
Yeah, they're subconscious. It's their subconscious kind of going like, we should just level things out a little more. Like, AOS has better models, more interesting and diverse factions. I don't mean diverse in like a chart kind of way. I mean like they come up with crazy, amazing ideas in AOS, and it's just by far the most interesting place that their imagination is playing in. And in 40k, like, when was the last time they came out with a new faction? The Space Dwarves, right? And like, that's just Space Dwarves. That's just, right? Anyway, I'll stop crapping on 40k. I do like 40k. I'm super excited about Space Marine 2, Electric Boogaloo. You know what I mean? Like, I do like the setting, but I just feel like AOS is so creative and the models are so awesome. It's more about my love of AOS, I suppose. Maybe they did it on purpose just to buy more models, but to show them a premier community. So that's when they fix 10th. You get less abrasive people over there. I mean, nothing would surprise me at this point. Like, you know, it's like, but then again, like they try, like if they're doing that, they tried that with fantasy, and then, you know, but they came right back for the old world. But just like those people that were like cancerous from fantasy, they came back, but only to complain. Like, not even probably to play the game. Like, they're just gonna wait till it comes out. It doesn't matter how good or bad it is. They're gonna complain, and then, you know, and basically probably try to get it shut down or something like that. But, you know, whatever, man. A lot of stuff they're showing. They're not showing Warcry. They are showing Underworlds. The Old World, you know, obviously they're going to show that because, like, it's releasing in like a couple of months, and it looks like they're coming up with weekly articles. I also started to pull up the article that they were talking, you know, that they showed the magic phase and the movement phase and the different things. But, you know, really this is Age of Sigmar Trash Pandas. But all that stuff's on Warhammer Community. It's really interesting. I don't know. It looks cool. I'm definitely going to check out the Old World when it comes out. So, yeah. So then, and then the last thing, which kind of ties into a few other things, but ho baby, they showed this model off on Monday. It is called the Gore Warden, and god dang, it's freaking stunning, man. Now, I don't know how big this base is. I'm gonna guess it's a 50 millimeter base.
I was gonna say the same thing.
Were you? And that's just
based on no evidence whatsoever.
Just based off of the size of the skull. That's what I'm going for, or that human-esque body. So, like, I'm thinking if that's a zombie sized kind of body, then maybe it's around, Yeah, 50. It's got to be at least a 50. I hope it's not a 40.
Yeah.
Because he's definitely bigger than like a human, right? Anyway.
Yeah.
Holy crap. This model is...
I have a weird compliment for this model.
Okay.
It's an amazing model overall.
Yes.
But my weird compliment is that the rope that they've done around, I like that they actually have like textured it nicely so that there's like little ridges.
Yeah.
Because the amount of times that I painted rope where it's just like a solid line and it just turns out looking like a flesh tether, I'm like, well, that doesn't look great. And I have to like manually paint the little lines on it to make it look like a rope again.
It would work here, ironically.
Yeah,
Flesh
that's
tether.
true. You just paint it pink and it's like intestines.
Yeah. Ooh. Gross. Yeah. Actually, I've done a lot more. What little I have left of my Flesh Eater Quartz army, I've done a lot more converting of, because I just didn't like a lot of the base stuff. A lot of it's really old, and even the stuff that's new, like the Charnel Throne, I don't know. Like it's my least favorite terrain piece, which is kind of saying something. Like a lot of them are not very inventive, right? But that one, like, it just doesn't have any character. So like maybe I'll show it later today or something like that. Like I know exactly where it is because I was looking for other FEC models today, and I literally just cut every piece of it apart and like re-glued it back together, and it doesn't look like the same model almost at all. And I'm actually really proud of it. It's like a conversion I did that I really like. But this model though is the opposite of that. There's so much character here. I love the keys. I love the crown of whatever that is. His pheasant crown or whatever, the belt, like everything about this. The longer nails, he's got 2 longer nails. Like he's got like his index and his thumb are longer, but then if you look at the other view down here, which I wanted to show anyway, or maybe the other nails are longer too. It doesn't, I don't know. Maybe that was just something I thought. But anyway, this model is freaking sick. What up, Sean? If that's what FEC is going to look like in the future, Booger Boys, look out. Totally. Is that legit new look? I can't see because of the program.
Legit new look, yeah.
Cool, thanks. Yes, I completely agree. I was playing FEC during the pandemic. They were like the main army that I was playing in the pandemic. I bought a used FEC army at the very start of the pandemic, and they were really fun, and I, like many people, like them mainly because of their lore, but most of the models, other than like the abhorrent, or what's it called, the Archregent, abhorrent Archregent, and I actually like the Zombie King or the Ghoul King on Terrorgeist, but that's like one of the better models, and it's still pretty old. So anyway, all the stuff that we've seen though, like the stuff that got leaked from the new like kind of elite ghouls, with the halberds or whatever, that got leaked a little while ago, they look amazing. Everything looks good. They're the Warcry warband, like, oh baby, right? Anyway, super cool. I'm really excited for this. They also advertised like why you shouldn't use GW metal paints, which was really cool of them. Just like, don't use Retributor, don't use Lead Belcher, like, it's basically just grains of sand with like metallic paint on top of it. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. It's right there though. Like, holy crap. Like, they zoom way in on this thing, right? Like, why don't they just like dry brush it with metallic paint or something? Do black and then dry brush it, and it won't be quite as obvious or something. I know they can't cheat because apparently they got in trouble. Did you ever hear about that? Apparently the heavy metal painting team used to use like Tamiya or something like that. And then they did some kind of behind the scenes interview, and like all the heavy metal painting team's desks had like Tamiya paints on them. They're using almost no GW paints. And so it was like this like semi scandal or something like that. Anyway, that's what I was told. I found it interesting. Okay. So that's the news. I don't think did I miss anything?
I don't think so.
Okay. I didn't think so either. So now we are on to the topic du jour. Saga of Glory. What is Saga of Glory, Carson?
I don't know.
Good talk.
No, it's
Good night, everybody.
yeah. See. Zing. So Saga of Glory is basically our take on, or it's basically our mission pack for
Yep.
Path to Glory.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
And it's basically like, this is a little PDF that has 6 missions in it, and then the intention is that you can play slow grow from 600 points ish, or like 500 to 650 ish, all the way up to 1500 points.
Exactly.
So that if you and your friends are kind of getting into the game, you can kind of play this. And the missions are kind of intended to be a little easier, a little less complicated at the beginning. And then they kind of get a little bit more complicated as time goes on, so that you can kind of learn the game and, you know, get to know a little bit more of the mechanics and stuff like that. So, yeah.
And just to be clear, this is not something you integrate into your GHB. It is outside of the GHB, because a lot of people that are newer to the game and or don't get a chance to play as often, or are getting into it, like, you know, it's really hard to jump in to a new game for you and learn a new army, and then also be incorporating all these other crazy rules that, you know, make your life more complicated. And also, you know, the battle tactics. So it uses the core rule book, right? And it's basically a way of, you know, kind of getting, it's a way of getting your friends or people in the store into Age of Sigmar, quite frankly. And because it's, you know, back in the day, you know, I was talking people into playing Age of Sigmar, but it's like, yeah, come and play this. And then it's like, when you start off with you know, you're like, okay, should we play like 1,000 points? Like back then you could play 1,000 points, 1,500 points, or 2,000 points, but that doesn't start off very low, and it's very hard to get people into the game. So then they released Path to Glory in 2017, I think it was, and I and a friend of mine, one of the many Jasons I know that plays Age of Sigmar, we kind of did a Path to Glory campaign together, and there was only like 5 of us or something like that, but it didn't matter. You know what I mean? It was just an excuse to paint up models incrementally, add them to your army, and you know, make friends and get people into it. And it worked really well. The next one we had like 12 or more people in it, and then we could pretty consistently had a lot of people, you know. And then you and I did Path to Glory. What was it about? I think it was like maybe, oh no, it was about a year ago, right?
On the channel, yeah.
On the channel, yeah. So, but we were doing it on the Patreon, and then we were just having people. It was just on the Patreon, so that was the only place you could see it. And we were doing like these really elaborate openings that were stupid, to be honest, but awesome at the same time. Like, those are some of my favorite openings we have ever done. And I'm not saying they're good. Like, I'm not going to defend them. It's like my love of the prequel trilogy for Star Wars. Like, I love them with, you know, from the very depths of my heart. I'm not going to defend them in every way, for sure. But some people still talk about it. Like, I was, I was telling one of the Patreons that you were going down to and playing in the World Championship because he hadn't heard, and then he was like, Chris Crab Cakes or whatever, and I was like, yes, Chris Crab Cakes or whatever. And then I was like, I thought about it, I was like, oh wait, wasn't Chris Crab Cakes the tyrant?
It was the tyrant, yeah.
Yeah, so unfortunately he wasn't technically in there, but
yeah, Steven's coming though.
Steven is, and he's been in there from the beginning. We're getting a little off track. Was the Firebelly ever in there? No? Damn. Okay, whatever. And there's no Steven either. So Steven.
Even, yeah.
Yeah, Steven and Chris Crabcakes unfortunately did not make the cut to your final list. But you know what? Like, everyone that I know that has learned their army or learned how to play AOS using Path to Glory is a better player for it. Because you learn you kind of learn it in mods almost, where you're like, you know, you're adding sections onto to your army, and you kind of figure out how to make them work in sort of in groups and in sections, and you kind of learn about synergy. And you know, when you're playing, and to be fair, and just so everyone understands this, and you'll definitely get that idea if you watch the first battle report from the most recent one, when you play in lower point games, it just can't be that balanced. Because if you kill a unit in 2,000 point game, you know, you're maybe killing off, you know, like what? Like at most like 20% of their army probably. But here you're talking like, you could be talking like 60% of their army, depending on what happens. So it's just going to be kind of like that. And it is what it is. But if you are someone that can kind of divorce yourself from worrying about that too much about balance.
Yeah, just kind of focus on, you know, learning the rules and having a good experience.
Exactly.
Creating like a nice narrative, fun time with your friends, and then just kind of learning the system together. I think that Path to Glory is an excellent way to be introduced to Age of Sigmar.
Yeah.
And then obviously if you want to like graduate to more competitive play, then don't do that. But yeah.
I think it's a good way to like learn an army or to start off in a journey. But yeah, it's not like how you will learn the final form of the game. But yeah, I think it's always been really good for the people that have done it, you know, especially if they're more at a basic level. But it's also just like it's just a lark, right? Like you and me, like those battle reports and the openings and everything, the narrative we created was so ridiculous, but it was so much fun. It was some of the most fun I've ever had on the channel, just because it was so stupid. Yeah. So anyway, so maybe you could introduce us to the opening here, and we can kind of go through it.
Sure. So this page is basically just like an intro of like, what is this pack? Right. How do you use it? And just why we made it. So I guess I can just go ahead.
Sorry. Before I forget, I should probably mention at some point. So people can see and read these whole battle plans, everything in here on the channel by watching this podcast or by watching the battle reports. We will be posting a battle report with every battle plan on here. So you can just copy them, take screenshots, do whatever. But if you want the full PDF with all of them right from the beginning, and if you subscribe to the Patreon at any level, that you can download it for free, and it will be a living document. So if we make changes in the future to make it better, I will update it and it will go up there for free. Or you know, as part of the Patreon. But sorry, I didn't want to interrupt, but I forgot to say that many times. So
yeah. So even if you wanted to do something like, I think the minimum one is like $1 or something, you could do that. And I
think it's a little more than that. But yeah, it's.
But yeah, you're totally more than welcome to just take screenshots of the videos and stuff like that as we play along, and actually, or look at this podcast too, because we'll be going through all the missions. But yeah, without further ado, I guess just reading the objective. So we wrote that the purpose of Saga of Glory is to get more people into Age of Sigmar. It's a community building tool, as well as a way to teach people the game. It'll also likely help you get your miniatures painted, which is definitely a good bonus. We've been playing Path to Glory since the very first edition of it in 2017. And though it really helped get a lot of people into AOS, it left a lot to be desired. And that's kind of, we're hoping to fill some gaps in this pack.
Yeah, indeed.
And then, do you want to go on for like how to use
Saga
of Glory?
So first you'll need at least 500 points. And these are, actually, I'll just read it out. 500 points minimum and at least one opponent, but the more the merrier. After that, you'll need to decide on how many points you're going to play at each level. There are 3 stages to the campaign, and we've built 2 scenarios for each level. So stage 1 is 500 to 650 points recommended. But I had Andy message me today, Chaos Andy, and he was like, "Hey, like it really doesn't work for me. Can we play 700 points?" And I was like, "No problem." You know what I mean? Because it's a negotiation, and we're still using triumphs, so it really shouldn't be that big a deal unless you can't make that work. But I'm sure one of us can. Yeah. So, and then stage 2, 1,000 to 1,250. Again, this is just an approximate. If it works for everyone to do 960 points, go for it, right? Stage 3, 1,500 to 1,750 points. And the reason that none of these go up to 2,000 is because once you've got 2,000 points, you're just playing a normal game of AOS. So you don't need this anymore, right? Example from the channel: we're doing stage 1, 650 points, stage 2, 1,200, and then 1,700 points for the final. Play 2 games at each level, giving you a chance to use every battle plan designed for the game, which also gives you a chance to paint your miniatures for each level. We also recommend setting a time period for each interval, but this isn't necessary. Good luck and have fun. Don't forget the purpose of Path to Glory. Oops, actually, you can't read it. Did I cut it off? There we go. Don't forget the purpose of Saga of Glory is to build your community and great gaming relationships, so we recommend running it with that in mind. Don't worry about winning or losing, but rather getting better and making great memories. And then there's also a note here. Note: all battle plans except Final Stand intend for players to deploy 9 inches away from enemy territory. So the first one is Duo of Fate. And you can hear the Darth Maul music playing in the background, right?
Yep. Actually, I don't know if that's not the Darth Maul.
What's that?
Was that the... we strongly recommend that you hum your own music during this battle.
It's true.
But yeah, this is like kind of the intro battle. Again, recommended for 500 to 650 points. But as Rob said, like if 700 is what makes sense, do that instead. Everything when it says like the armies, the battlefield, and deployment, that language is all going to be pretty much the same. So I'm not really going to read that. The only note is that all battle plans except Final Stand, which is the last one, you should be deploying outside of 9 inches of enemy territory and wholly within your territory.
Right. And then sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to try and show this. There we go. I got the map on there so people can kind of see the deployment.
Yeah. So as we can see, this one starts you pretty far apart. There's a lot of no man's land. You have this tiny little block on each side of the board for you and your opponent. And kind of the reason that we did this is because you're playing at such low points that you kind of don't need that much space, and it can kind of get boring as you if you play your first game and you're like, I'm going to deploy on this edge of the board, and your opponent's like, I'm going to deploy on this edge of the board, and then you're just like, let's spend 3 turns just moving towards each other. That's not a lot of fun.
I mean, it might help you like really learn the phases of the game.
Maybe, yeah, that's true.
But
yeah. And then the special ability in this one is called Vengeful Rage, which is just after deployment, but before the battle round begins, each player selects 2 units from their starting army. These units are referred to as the key units. After one of your key units is slain, you may choose one of the following effects for the remaining key unit on the battlefield. This effect lasts until the end of the battle. Number 1 is add 2 to charge rolls for this unit. Number 2 is select one of this unit's melee profiles and add 1 to hit rolls for its attacks. And number 3 is this unit does not make battle shock rolls while within 3 inches of an enemy key unit. So basically, it's like you're probably only going to have 2 or 3 units, or a low amount of units in your army. And so you're picking like 2 special units, and then when one of them dies, the other one gains a benefit. And then the victory condition, it doesn't have any victory points whatsoever. There's no objectives, as you can see on the map. It's just if you destroy both of your opponent's key units, that's it. You win. That's calculated at the end of the round.
Yes.
Oh no, sorry. The battle ends immediately.
Wait, one thing. Sorry.
I was going to read out the victory.
Okay, please.
Yeah. Also, Bahamut, this is our Saga of Glory. We wrote these battle packs, so feel free to use them.
Yep.
So the victory condition is starting in Battle Round 2 at the end of each Battle Shock phase. If neither of the player's key units are on the battlefield, that battle ends immediately. That player suffers a major defeat, and the other player is awarded a major victory. If neither player has any key units on the battlefield, the battle ends immediately and is considered a draw.
Right.
So it's at the end of each battle shock phase is when we actually calculate that.
Right.
Yeah. Battle length is 5 battle rounds. And if by the end of the 5th battle round, neither player has lost both of their key units, the player with the most key units is awarded a minor victory, and the other one is a minor defeat. And then if they have the same number of key units, then it's considered a draw. So basically, there's just 2 important units. If you kill them, you win. That's like the simple version of it.
Indeed. And this one was inspired by the original Path to Glory. There was one good battle plan in that whole book, and it was, and you picked one unit, and then it was just about killing that one unit. But we wanted to add a little more interesting and do our own take on it, and I think it's pretty fun. Yeah. So
it's kind of fun too, narratively, that like one of the key units dies and the other one is like, no, and then just gets a special ability for the rest of the battle, like, they hit harder or they charge faster, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I think
we can move on to.
Cool.
Go ahead.
Go on to the next. No, I mean, I really like this. Is I like that it's different. There's no objectives. We're doing it. We're doing one of them without it, and then that way, it's one less thing when you're learning the game. It's one less thing to worry about objectives, right? You just go through your phases and very simple rules. So, yeah, I hope people find it a good teaching one. To just show people the game.
Exactly. And this next one does have objectives.
This one does. But just 2, exactly. You can see it right there. So, a defender's territory in blue, attacker's territory, so it's cross. Then 9 inches back, right? So you'll create one of those little semicircles, and then no one starts on an objective, right? You have to move on to the objective. I forgot to. We meant to say, I don't think we said this, but we usually recommend putting like your biggest terrain piece kind of in the middle here. But anyway, cool. So should I do this one?
Yep. Also, I like what Lativicus said, which is, "Here, eat my sacrificial goblin. Ha ha ha! Now my squigs don't flee." Like, that's true. You can do that for sure.
That's true. That's a great idea. Yeah, man. I mean, it's a low point game too, so even if your goblin's 60 points, that's 10% of your army. Right. So anyway, so we got victory points. So this is the same. Like, I'm not going to explain, the armies, the battlefield, the deployment, because it's all the same. Victory points. Each player scores victory points at the end of each of their turns as follows. Score 1 victory point if you control at least one objective. 2 if you control both objectives. Score 2 victory points if you completed the battle tactic that you picked that turn. So this is really simple. Like, if you played the game before, you'll kind of recognize some of this language, Anyway, grand strategy, 3 points as usual. Battle length, 5. And then here are the special rules. Desperate plea. In your hero phase, if your opponent controls more objectives than you, you may choose to carry out one of the following actions. Add +1 to either of these rolls if your opponent controls both objectives. That's something to keep in mind, right? So, plea of the masses, you have to pick one of these 2 things. So the first choice is plea of the masses. Roll a dice for each friendly unit. Each friendly unit, right? On a 6 up, that unit, give that unit 1 sacred blessing. See below. On a roll of 1, that unit suffers 1 mortal wound. So there's a little bit of a thing, but you're probably going to want to do it. And don't forget, if they control both of these, it goes from a 6 up to a 5 up, right? Then the other option that you can pick here is Heavenly Conduit. Select 1 unit, roll a dice, and on a 4 up, give that unit 1 sacred blessing. See below. On a roll of 1, that unit suffers 1 mortal wound. Okay? And that goes to a 3 up, of course, if they control both objectives. So then if they get their blessing, right, their sacred blessing, until the next hero phase, this unit has a ward of 5 up. Okay? And then Righteous Fury. Until your next hero phase, 6s to wound For attacks made by this unit, inflict 1 mortal wound in addition to any damage made by that attack. Divine Will. Until your next hero phase, this unit automatically passes battle shock tests. So you can kind of, if you want to like really go for the gusto and get your whole army amped up, you can do that, or you can just pick one key unit. So there's a little bit of strategic thinking, give and pull, and yeah.
One of the biggest things that we wanted to focus on with this one is the concept of like rubber banding in game mechanics.
Right.
And so you'll notice that Desperate Plea is only applicable to the player who controls less objectives, basically. So that kind of gives like an inherent balance where it's like, okay, your opponent controls more objectives than you right now, but you have the chance to get like a whole bunch of buffs if you really want to.
Yep.
And it also introduces some interesting play too, where like if you have more advanced players, they might intentionally play around that. Going second is an inherent advantage because if your opponent takes an objective on the first turn, then automatically you get a Desperate Plea. So.
And neither player can start on an objective, so it's not like this will happen round 1, unless they get really creative, I suppose.
Or a pregame move, but yeah.
Pregame move, that's a good point. Yeah, you could pregame move. Yeah, that's what I was trying to think of. And then, but on, I guess, turn 1 for the player going second, as you mentioned, there's a chance that they move on to the objective. But it's not even to say that it's bad. Like you tiptoe onto the objective, and if they're slow moving, then even if they get that buff, you know what I mean? Like it's not going to necessarily help them. They're going to want to get on the objective as well, and yeah, you can kind of figure it out from there. But yeah, is that good? Should we? So FEC and Tomb Kings next week. Yes, that's what it looks like, Bahamut, and hopefully that's the case. I mean, we know FEC is coming because they showed that video. Okay, so this one is it's called Celestial Chasms, and it's for 1,000 to 1,500 points. And
yes, sir.
Take it, Carson.
Sounds good. So this one looks pretty similar to Geometric Pulse, or maybe like Lines of Communication. It's got a big 22-inch gap of no man's land at the center. It's got 3 objectives right in the direct center of the board. So we can pretty much just get into it. So the special rule for this one is called Reality Warp. So at the beginning of your movement phase, each unit that is within 6 inches of an objective, half its movement characteristic, rounding up until your next hero phase. Otherwise, if the unit is within 12 inches of an objective, subtract 2 from its movement characteristic until your hero phase. So if you go anywhere near objectives, it's kind of like this big tar pit that happens at the center of the board. And then in addition, at the start of the Battle Shock phase, roll a die for each unit that is within 6 inches of a normal objective and did not perform a normal move, run, retreat, or charge that turn. For each 3+, that unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. So note that it says each unit, not just each of your friendly units. And you can't really do a normal move, run, retreat, or charge in your opponent's turn most of the time.
Right.
So basically, you're being punished for standing on an objective and not doing anything. So like if one opponent is like really dominating the center of the board, they're kind of being like punished for standing there too much.
Right.
And then victory points. This is really simple. It's just 1, 2 more. So you score 1 if you control 1, score 1 if you control 2, and score 1 if you control more objectives than your opponent, and then 2 for the battle tactic. And that's pretty much it. It's a pretty simple one.
It is a pretty simple one. And a lot of this is, and the concept behind this one was a little bit of like, maneuvering your models. It's more based around movement. We're trying to get you moving and thinking strategically about the push and pull, because you got to remember, in Age of Sigmar, you control an objective even after you move off of it. So that's something to think about when you're playing the game. It kind of teaches you that rule, and it's, it'll hopefully be good for people learning, the game. Clockwork, also same level, 1,000 to 1,500 points. This is stage 2, I guess, is really
Yeah.
And so this one is the hammer and anvil style deployment, so lengthwise. And then you've got 4 objectives. One, right on the tip of the middle of your deployment zone, and then 2, basically equilaterally distant between the center of the board and the other territories. So, so we're trying to do a variety of ones, but no step deployments. You'll notice there's no step deployments. I hate them. Okay, shifting priorities. At the start of battle round 1, after priority is determined, the player picked to go first picks either objective A or B to be designated as the priority point. In addition, and by the way, you can see that on here. They're both labeled. I don't think I'm pointed it out, but and then in addition, at the start of each battle round after the first, the player picked to go second must choose to shift the priority point either clockwise or counterclockwise. The objective in the direction picked becomes the new PowerPoint. So if it starts on A or B, it has to start on A or B, right? Then whoever's going second, starting in battle round 2, and each turn thereafter, if they say it goes clockwise, and they picked A for it to be the beginning PowerPoint, and it goes clockwise, then it goes into the blue, right? And then if they choose for it to go clockwise again, then it goes to B, or it can go counterclockwise, right? So, yeah, that's basically it. Victory points. Each player scores victory points at the end of each of their turns as follows. Score 2 victory points if you control the priority point. I keep saying PowerPoint. PowerPoint. Score 1 victory point for each objective you control that is adjacent to the priority point in either the clockwise or counterclockwise direction. So if the priority point is A, then it becomes this one here and this one here. And if this is the priority point, it becomes A and B, etc. Right? Score 2 victory points if you complete your battle tactic this turn, and everything else is as normal. So
this one's like very inspired by it was kind of like an attempt to combine power flux and geometric pulse in a sense, where it's like kind of swapping around. And then I like the idea of like a special point being like more valuable than the other ones, and then the ones adjacent to it being very valuable too. And I like the idea that you're like the battle plan is kind of forcing you to go around a little bit more.
Right.
So, yeah.
And also it definitely, I think this one actually kind of shows how taking the bottom of the turn can be very powerful, because you are controlling a lot of where the priority of the game is being set. And it can never be like in, like, say, the attacker's territory 2 turns in a row. It can't do that, right? It can go back.
It has to shift.
Yeah, exactly. It can go back there after another turn, but it'll never happen 2 times in a row. So taking the bottom of the turn can be extremely powerful. As funny as it sounds, I prefer step deployment over the long ways deployment. I just find the long ways battle plans awkward to sit at, and I'm lazy. So that's a good point. I meant to point this out. You obviously can change this to Dawn of War. It becomes less square. But the other thing to mention too is that until you get up to like 1,500 points, you're probably playing on like a smaller board, right? So we were using, and we recommend you use a smaller board. You can't use a normal size board for a 650 point game. Like it doesn't really work. So, you can, if you have those boards that come in the Warcry sets or whatever, you can use them. But Carson and I usually use the Realm of Battle boards, and that becomes 4x4. and so it's actually square. So it won't even matter for us in that regard. But the idea was we didn't want it. We didn't want the A and B to be too far out. Was why we used this hammer and anvil style deployment. But yeah, I hear you, Ludivicus. Me and a lot of people like Vince Venturella hate measuring out step deployment. It just takes so much time. And yes, I hope they never use it again. Like literally ever use it again. But I do agree about hammer and anvil. Although sometimes it can be really fun, like in some games. But you do need a certain amount of space to do it. So it is what it is. Anyway, sorry. Parallel advance.
Yep. So as you'll see on this one, we are stepping up our objective game. There's 6 objectives. And you're kind of doing like quarter deployment in this one, opposite of the one that we saw earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And then the special rule for this one is tread on thy foe, but defend what's ours. So it's while a friendly unit is wholly within your territory, that unit is treated as having the benefit of cover. In addition, at the start of each hero phase, roll a die for each friendly unit outside of your territory. For each unmodified roll of 6+, you gain a command point. If the model picked to be your general has been slain, gain a command point on an unmodified roll of 5+ instead. And then the victory points are score 1 victory point if you control at least 1 if you control 3, and then 1 if you control more. So it's 1-3 more instead of 1-2 more. And so basically this one gives you a benefit for staying inside of your own territory, and then also a benefit for being outside of your territory. And you're basically choosing between, do I want to be in cover, or do I want to potentially get a whole bunch of command points? So
right,
yeah,
I
thought this one was just kind of neat. It like introduces another aspect to the game a little bit, like makes maybe CP starved armies a little bit easier.
It makes them easier, but it also teaches you. It gives you a good excuse to use to try out using different command abilities and stuff like that. What you'll probably notice is when you're teaching people how to play Age of Sigmar is when they start playing the game, they never use redeploy. They're like, it might be a 1. And redeploy is actually one of the most powerful command abilities in the entire game. But, you kind of have to get used to using them. So we thought by giving you likely a lot more command points to spend, you will start using it for things that you might not have used it otherwise. Not just all out attack and all out defense, but you'll start, really kind of getting in the groove of it. So, and maybe even using your own army's command abilities and stuff like that. So, Ipaka says, just joined, but I reckon the rumor engine is a corn gore in an Underworld's warband and a hint of a full unit to come. Heck yeah. I don't know what a corn gore is, but that sounds awesome. If it's better than a corn dog, I'm down.
Not possible.
Not possible. That's actually you're absolutely right.
Wait, are flesh hounds corn dogs?
God dang it.
Just gonna let that one sit with you.
Yeah. Avatar says redeploy low key. I think it says powerful. I'm sorry, I can't read it with my program. It's really annoying. Also,
redeploy low key powerful. Also, Mystic Shield.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Sorry. What was there anything else I lost track of?
On to the last one, I think.
Okay, cool. The last one is Final Stand, which is very apropos, I think. So this one is got. Oh, dang it! You can't see it. Dang it! I don't know what to do. I can't scroll down any further. Here, what? I'll try and. No. Okay. Here, I'll just take off the footer here because I don't know what else to do. Boop. Oh, it's still not showing it. Okay. Well, anyway, here, maybe you explain it and I'll try and see if I can figure out what to do.
So the one piece that you're missing, it may look like the entire map is just Defender's territory, and I promise it's not. Um, basically, there's like a thin strip of attacker's territory at the bottom there. And as we said at the beginning of the pack, this is a battle plan where you can deploy within 9 inches of enemy territory, which means you can technically deploy into combat. Um, and the attacker's territory is basically like an 11-inch bar along the bottom of the screen, which seems really limiting, but you'll also see that the attacker. This is a bit of like uh, a special mission, as Rob will go through when you read like the special rules.
I just realized that I'm an idiot. So, and now it's
Just now?
yes, just now, right now. Okay, so there is the deployment. I forgot that I had like cut it off to make it viewable or whatever, or more easily viewed. Okay, so you can see that it's 3/4 of. Did you already explain it? I was concentrating.
A little bit, yeah, but you can go over it if you want.
Okay, yeah. So 3/4 of the battlefield is the defender's territory. This is where things get a little bit crazy. We tried to make it like a little more interesting and fun, right? There's also 8 objectives, which is really fun. It's kind of based off of something that we made up in the previous one a little bit. So, okay, here we go. Relentless advance at the end of the attacker's turn. So this is only for the attacker, right? Because this is asymmetrical. At the end of the attacker's turn, for each new objective that the attacker controls, mark that objective as pillaged. That objective can no longer be contested or controlled by defender units. Okay? And then victory points is each player scores victory points at the end of each of their turns as follows. If you are the attacker, score 1 victory point for each pillaged objective on the battlefield. If you are the defender, score 1 victory point for each objective on the battlefield that is not marked as pillaged. Score 2 victory points if you complete your battle tactic. So basically the defender, and you guys can like, now obviously you use all the normal rules of Age of Sigmar, you roll off to see who's the attacker and defender. But if you want, if you feel like narratively speaking, there's an army that's more suitable for being the defender, you know what I mean? Like Cities of Sigmar would be a great example, right? You can do that. And then it's all about this ravaging force of orcs or whatever it is, trying to get in there and pillage these objectives. And it's fun, it's different, it's thematic. Did we... I can't remember if we said this or not. So I think wasn't our idea for this was that like in the Path to Glory game, the objectives are terrain pieces?
These are just objectives.
Okay, they're just objectives? I couldn't remember.
Treat it that way if you want to, but yeah.
Right. Because that's what we did for one of them, and it was really fun. And it made it just kind of easy, and then you controlled it. You were in a controlling thing if you were within 3 inches of the terrain piece, and that way you didn't have a bunch of objectives all over the battlefield. But regardless, it's just kind of, this one's kind of a different one. You know, it's probably going to be the last one you play, and it's where you kind of get funky with it and do something different.
Yeah, exactly. And the name of the mission kind of like implies that too, that it's like this is the last thing, like it's the the final event of the campaign.
Yeah.
So having fun with it is what's important there.
I think so. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, and this is just a recommendation, but I think when we thought about it and went through it, and it's been a while since we made these guys, just sorry to, we had some hiccups and stuff on the channel in general, and then there was scheduling and stuff like that. But I think our idea for this one was even though it, like, if you look at the map, it looks like this actually favors the defender. I think it actually favors the attacker a bit more. And so if you have someone who's already kind of winning a lot, maybe they're the defender, because the defender can never get the pillaged objectives back. So if you kind of, I don't know, maybe that's not the case. We haven't had a chance to play it yet, but yeah, this is one of the funner ones, right?
Yeah, I also like that in this one, there's essentially no, like, oh, I've captured this objective, and now I just have it until you come here and take it back.
Yeah.
It's like, you have to stop me right now from taking this objective, otherwise it's mine forever.
It's yours forever, and it's not like in 40K where if the model isn't sitting on the objective right now, you get it for the rest of the game. So even if all your forces are dead, if you control enough objectives, you can still win.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun like that because they're pillaged. Like that's the whole idea. Like part of the idea I think was like if you play like Total War and stuff like that, sometimes some of the factions when they capture a city, they don't like occupy it. They burn it and they raise it, and then they create some monument to some foul chaos god, and then that's their thing. And then you know what I mean, you can't really go back and settle there again. So yeah, it's kind of different. Also, after I meant to say, after I said earlier, when they miss that charge, he's talking about redeploy and waste a CP on a reroll because you redeployed. You feel real good. That's so true. Like it can save your bacon. So yeah, redeploy. I highly recommend it. And then Ludivicus says the unequal deployment zones is a pretty cool idea that I wouldn't have thought of. I like it. Thanks, man. Yeah, we kind of took a little bit more of a risk on this one, I think, right? But yeah. Where do we go from here, Carson? I need to drink water.
That's about it. That's the pack, pretty much. There's 6 missions. Ideally, you do them in order, just to like kind of allow people to experience the game and learn the game a little bit better. But yeah, interested to hear everyone's thoughts. And if you end up playing a mission, please let us know and tell us that it's terrible. Looking forward to that.
Carson's really into that, by the way. And if you want to cheer him on for the World Championships on the 17th, don't just say awful things to him. He will. Like, am I lying, Carson, by the way?
No. Yeah. I tend to play better when I don't know if it's necessarily the existence of things being bad said about me, but it's more so just like the lack of people encouraging me that makes me play better. Because if everyone's like, you're doing such a great job, you're gonna win this for sure, I'm gonna lose 100% of the time.
That's true.
But
yeah.
When
people are trying to mess with you in our local group, they say really nice things about you. And
yeah, Dale has a pre-prepared love letter that he is ready to bring out defensively if he ends up matching me in a tournament. And I'm not joking. He showed me. And he's gonna like hand it to me with like a nice chocolate or something like that. And they'll be like, "You're such a good player, Carson. I just think that you're..." I'm like, no.
I hope he like sprayed some cologne on it or something like that and put it
yeah,
in
exactly.
with some potpourri. Yeah. Came in late. Is there a link to the pack? So it is. Oh, it's not. Oh, sorry. It's not Warcoda. It's all on the Patreon, Avatar. Warcoda is actually an old thing that because I just copy and paste the the chat there. Warcoda is a super old thing that Tyler Emerson made like a year and a half ago. I forget when. It was ages ago. You can just use, like, we showed it all on here for free, and in the future battle reports, and we're going to do more with the one that we already did on the channel, but we're going to show them, you know, like the maps and everything, and you can just screenshot these, write down the notes, you know what I mean, and whatever. But if you want like the full PDF, and by the way, Carson designed these and they look amazing. I think we can all agree. They look really good, dude. but if you want the full PDF, just if one person joins the Patreon at any level, you can download it and then you can use it for your whole group. I'm just putting it on the Patreon. I'm just hoping people will check it out. That we've got a lot of battle reports on there, and it's just But honestly, like, if you're just like, Rob, I don't have $5, like, but I've got like this old army and I wanted to get an Age of Sigmar, email me. Carson, I know, has no problem. I'll send it to you. I'll email it to you. You can use it for your whole group. You can use it for your whole community. If you build your community off of that, then that's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic, and it would make me happy. So yeah, if you want a free copy of it, just email me. Email's in the description. sagaofdice@gmail.com, where you can also buy some dice, and you can also buy some t-shirts. Actually, no, you can't. There's a link in the description for that too. But yeah, anyway, but we're just kind of wanting to do our own thing. I've found Path to Glory. We kind of said it from the hop. Path to Glory. I think Path to Glory is the best way to build a community and to get new people into the game and to teach them the game. And so we wanted to make something and kind of almost give back to this like sub game that has been so good for our local community. And from the beginning too, like we mentioned at the start that, and I have Path to Glory, the 2017 books still to this day. And I just wanted to mention that, like, so when we first did it, this is kind of a fun sort of side story. When we first did it, and there was 5 of us, we ran it straight out of the book, right? And it used to have these things called glory points. Don't get me started, right? It's not as dirty as it sounds, but you would like do things in the game to get glory points. And if you won, you got more glory points, and you were trying to get glory points to win the game, but then you also used glory points to buy new units. And it kind of snowballed, and like it was the least balanced thing, and it was really bad for new players, as it turned out, right? There was one good battle plan, and then that was it. But then we had we did future versions, and then we started coming up with our own point increments, using our own battle plans, and making it up. So we've been doing this for a long time, but we've almost never run the Path to Glory rules out of any of GW's books because Path to Glory, because slow grows in any game, not just Age of Sigmar, are inherently less balanced, because as soon as something dies, it's just proportionately a much bigger part of your army and a much bigger deal. It's just not going to be as balanced. So you're trying to do your best to balance it as best you can. And so the earlier renditions of it were the opposite of that, and they're really meant for more narrative stuff, but I think people need something to learn the game on, and it could have been better, but yeah. Awkward pause.
Yep.
We went a little too long without one, so.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, sorry. Avatar says Path to Glory is how I got into Sigmar. Exactly, right? A lot of people. Not me, but like, I got so many people into it. Even though I mainly match play now. Agreed. It's really fun and can be a good escalation league type of thing for newbies too. Exactly. So I'm hoping people can use this to build their own community. We have such a great community. Like, and when I say strong, like there's lots of really good players around here, but I mean, when I say strong, I'm not talking about that. I mean, like, it's a strong community, and that we've got, it probably still isn't as popular as 40K, but at times it seems more popular, just because like everyone I run into in the local stores, they're playing AOS. They're not playing 40K. And yeah, so it's really great. So if you overspent your glory points, did you go into the, I can't finish that, but yes, you couldn't overspend. you couldn't go into like glory debt or anything like that. But it is how you won the game. But basically, the first one, this was AOS 1, and I just bought Storm Fiends for 3 glory points. I won my first game, bought Storm Fiends, won my second game, bought Storm Fiends, and then I had 9 Storm Fiends and a Vermin Lord, and it was so stupidly overpowered, like no one had a chance, because back then each Storm Fiend shot 8 inches and they just did 2d3 mortal wounds each guy.
It's kind of weird because it's like, congratulations for winning.
Yeah.
Here's an extra benefit to make sure you don't lose next time.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the opposite of a lot of game development theory, where you're supposed to kind of like even things out a little bit. Like the classic example. Sorry, my dog is screaming. The classic example is the turtle shell from Mario Kart. Like the person who's in first place doesn't get to have that.
You can never get a blue shell. You could never get even a red shell normally if you're in first. Yeah.
So the only people that can get it are the people that can basically knock the person out of first place. And it's in order to like kind of like bring them back with the rest of the pack, kind of thing.
It's to make it so that someone can't get so far ahead that the other place people have no chance of ever. So then otherwise they'll just give up. It's not fun, you know.
Well, another thing is too is that if you have someone that's so far ahead and you have a whole bunch of people behind, they end up just kind of punishing each other.
Right.
And
that's true too.
Like,
yeah.
The crabs pulling each other back into the bucket, kind of thing.
Yep. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and there's the what's it called? The in Street Fighter 4, for example. Actually, most Street Fighter games, when you get hit, you get super meter or ultra meter or whatever, depends on the version of the game, and then you can use that for super special moves that are, you know, the more damaging, and you know what I mean. It's just a rubber band mechanic, you know. It's in many different games, but yeah, or a bullet. Yeah, bullet. In the originals Mario, there was no blue shell, but there was a thunderbolt that you could mostly only get if you were in last place, and it shrinks everyone down, and then they go super slow, like they were hit by a mushroom, and then you're the normal size, and you go speeding past people, and you can run them over and stuff. But yeah, it's 40K has those new gambits or something like that now for that purpose. See, I didn't even realize that. I know what you're talking about. That's in like in the cards, right? In the they're not Tempest of War, but that's what they were called in 9th edition. I think I know what you're talking about, Avatar. It's like that rubber banding, like that one battle plan you made. Keeps it interesting for people at different skill levels. Exactly. You know, that's, you know, because like, yeah, you can, it's definitely like at the lower level, even if you have one person better than the other, like everything is a bigger deal. The roll off, you know, the attacking, defending, magic spells, like everything means more. But if you can get into the mindset, like I'm either learning a new army, I'm learning a new game, I'm learning, or I'm teaching someone, you know, I'm building a community, and try not to concentrate on, you know, winning and losing. Because at the end of the day, we didn't design any way of winning Saga of Glory. There's no overall winner. You all win by teaching each other the game, and we, Carson and I, if you do join the Patreon, you can see our last path to glory thing. We made like a narrative each time our character died, you know, and it was fun and funny. Yeah. I might have to get this to do a Path to Glory build, but no AOS nearby, so doing Underworlds right now. Okay, yeah, I mean, so I don't know where you are, Bahamut, but like if you're, you know, if you have a local store or whatever, and you just, like, I would hang out, you can ask Carson. I know Carson because I used to just hang out at the local store. He would let you come in and paint, and I was in there all the time, and I was either playing in there or I was painting in there. And that's how I got a lot of the people that you know from the channel into AOS. Like, and I did that just by hanging out in my local store and just being a friendly guy. Or, you know, somewhat less of a jerk than I usually am. That's probably the most accurate statement I could make. But Alex, for example, he was just in there painting his Underworlds warband. He was playing 40K and Warhammer Underworlds. And I was like, we're doing a new Path to Glory. You know, why don't you join us if you're interested in Age of Sigmar? And so he got into Caradron Overlords, and, you know, eventually he sold his Caradron Overlords and then bought them again. And then I think he's selling them again now. I can't remember. So he's got a very love-hate relationship with his KO, but
I think he's now decided not to sell them.
Oh, really?
That could change at any instant. So.
Yeah. But like, I mean, you know, and like Darren's coming on Thursday. We're supposed to film a battle report with Darren, and you guys haven't seen Darren yet. He's one of the founders of our local club. And yeah, I got him into it. He was playing War Machine at the time, and you know, he used to play fantasy back in the day, but I was just like, hey, you know, and the rest is history, right? So, but yeah, I hope you like it, Bahamut. You know, try it out. Please give us feedback. We will change the document, and like, I'm not going to delete the old one, so people can always have access to it. But you know, if we get some feedback, like the final stand, final stand in this one, you know, if you guys had actually like do the same thing, push the objectives a little further back, make it only whatever, but the attacker and defender territory is actually in the middle, like keep everything the same, but like this is our feedback, and everyone's like, oh yeah, and then we try it out and we think it works, we'll change it, we'll update it, you know what I mean? Or we might even just add another one and be like alternative deployment, and you know what I mean? Like, we're going to keep doing this, and because I really love Path to Glory. It's I have, other than like like competitive AOS with like a really good opponent, it's my favorite thing to do. It's so much fun, you know. Yeah.
I agree. I don't know if I've ever successfully completed the Path to Glory campaign outside of the one that we did on the channel together.
Right.
But many started and then died.
Yeah.
But it was fun.
Yes, that's true. And we are starting a new one too. So, and we'll definitely finish at least one of the armies. You and I are both going to maybe play 2 armies. So I'm playing, as you guys can see, I'm playing Seraphon in the current one, but I think I'm going to start, I've got a decent amount of FEC, but I think I'm going to start like FEC proper, because it looks like they're coming out again. I've never had FEC on the channel, period. It's the only army that we have never had on the channel in any form. And so, you know, they're hilarious. And I think it'll be like a really, actually, here's another thing for people in the chat, and for, I meant to say this earlier, and for the comments section, if people are watching this later, like, what's a fun story idea for my FEC? Like, I want to make it kind of ridiculous, kind of like we did with the goblins in the one on Patreon, but I was thinking like I could do something similar to their Halloween video, where it's like, maybe I'll get Jeff to lend me his Bretonia, you know what I mean, and then it'll be like, you know, minstrel music playing along, and then it'll flash and you'll hear a scream and that kind of thing. But I need like a story to tell. So
what if they were like super honorable shogun?
Ooh.
And I thought that they were, yeah, that's their delusion instead, is they think that they're shogun.
Oh man, they're like samurai.
Yeah,
I like it. And then if like I get that new Gore Warden guy, he can have like a shogun helmet or something. Maybe I could get someone to 3D print it or something. Yeah. Oh man, that would be cool. I like it. Oh man, I've got other ideas, but I don't want to spoil it. I'll talk to you after it. Bahamut says 40 Monty Python Holy Grail. God dang, that's such a good idea. Oh man. I don't even know how I would incorporate that, but I already like it. Earlier you said 40 miles for the hobby store. There is a net cafe that hosts card games and D&D. 40 miles. What is that, like 60K? So it's like a 40-minute drive, I want to say, probably. If you're going
5K.
What is it?
65K?
65K. Okay. So if you're, yeah, it's probably like what, a 40-minute drive-ish, depending on how fast you are and if it's a highway or not. But yeah, that's pretty far, man. I mean, I was going to Weiser's for a while, which is literally a 40-minute drive from my house. But they have, but I met a lot of people, I met people there and it was really cool. That is brutal though, Bahamut. I mean, yeah, my heart goes out to you, man. I hope you can, an hour or so. Yeah. See, that's pretty far. Yeah, I don't, hit me up after. I might have some ideas for you, but yeah, my heart goes out to you for sure. I do love the Monty Python idea. Full Bretonnian conversions, keep the new cool ghoul look, but with bits of Bretonnian armor or cloaks or whatever. Huh, I like that. I do have, I did do some like green stuff and whatnot. Actually, maybe I'll show you guys my terrain piece, and that might get some ideas flowing. Late AF, been painting. No worries, Robin. Thanks for joining us, man. We're talking about our new system, Saga of Glory, available on Patreon now. Hey, hour or so. We'll trying to get some people locally. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah. If you can yeah. What's one thing that helped us out a lot was someone made a local Facebook group. And it originally, the one that we have now was called North Shore, which just meant a much smaller community. And then it grew to the point and Jin came on and it became Metro Vancouver. So now it's like huge, right? It's going in and out. How is it doing it? Aw, the goblin is here. Is it okay? Don't take this the wrong way, Carson. Is it possible that Holly is an FEC?
I think so. Yeah, she thinks she's a corgi.
Right?
But she's actually just a goblin.
A ghoul dog. Okay.
Just a little creep. Smelly jerk.
Creep by TLC.
This entire show, she's just been dropping a frisbee on my foot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'll be right back. I'm going to grab my terrain piece. Okay?
Sure. So this is my dog, Holly. She's a dog. And she looks very concerned right now. Because she doesn't like being on camera. And I'm wasting time until Rob gets back.
Pyong. Super fast, right?
Drop the dog.
So, okay, first of all, I want to show people what the charnel throne looks like normally. What did I do with... There we go. Charnel throne. Oh, you can't see this, can you? FEC. Boo, 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 boo. And I have a good reason for showing y'all this, okay? I just want it to be... I hate how Google Images works now, by the way. Oh, good. It took me to the new GW site, everyone. Good news.
Yay.
And that's so crazy. So I clicked on Charnel Throne, take me to that image that you're showing me, right? Then it takes me to the GW website, but I don't get to go, like it didn't take me to the actual product. I still have to type it in there. Man, this is a bad site. Okay, so where, oh, you guys can't see this. So I'm gonna put down the PDF. There we go. So you guys can see this now, right? This is the Charnel Throne. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but like, what the hell is this? Okay? The bottom half of this thing, no problem, right? As usual, there's too many skulls on it, but that's, GW's want. I'm fine with it, right? But look at how neat and organized this skull throne is. Like, it's too perfect, right? Doesn't that look ridiculous to you? So what I did was I cut them all individually and glued them all on at like crazy angles, right? So it's like way more rickety. And then I did like some green stuff and tore it down so it looks like it's like covered with skins of various races, right? And then I made a little human shape. You can't see it because I have snow all over it, but I made like a little human skin rug underneath the throne because that screams class to me. And then, yeah, I did this kind of like unique snowing base where what I did was I took like a varnish. I sprayed like a heavy thing of varnish and then I dusted snow flock onto it and then I blew it off and then I just kept doing that so it looks like a light sprinkling of snow had just fallen or whatever. And I really like it, to be honest. It also covers up some of the stuff you can't really see. I'll try and take a picture of it later. But I'm really happy with how it turned out, to be honest. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Thanks, Ludivicus. I'll take a picture and I'll try and put it on Instagram. When I sold my some of the bits of FEC that I bought used, I wanted to keep that because it's one of my favorite conversions I've done. And then I don't have the other one. I made my own Ghoul King on to go on the Terrorgeist, and I did it's maybe my favorite conversion I've ever done. It's not that big a deal, but if you see everything together, that's why I'm kind of upset that I can't find my Terrorgeist head. Hopefully he'll turn up, but if not, maybe I can get the spare parts and just because I made it magnetized so you can take off the zombie dragon head and put on the Terrorgeist head. But yeah, fix the ribs too. Yeah, probably. I'm not sure what you mean by ribs. I basically kind of just covered them up with green stuff to make it look like flayed skin, just because I thought it was, I don't know. It just this terrain piece was to me the worst one they've ever done. But the kind of good,
a little uninspired, I think.
Very uninspired, sure. Right? And then I don't want to go on about it too much, but the good thing, actually, maybe I'll just cut. The good thing was, I was like, I can't screw this up. It doesn't matter what I do. I think it's going to be better than it was, which is kind of sad too, because Flesh Eater Courts is one of the most original things they've ever come up with, right? It's such an amazing idea. So, yeah. The meat dice, no, that's going to be a future thing. But hopefully it will come. Isn't it supposed to be from OBR? No, this terrain piece was originally created for FEC. Let me think. Actually, it was before OBR even came out. This came with in February approximately of 2019, and OBR came out, I want to say, in May or June approximately. So yeah, that's that anyway. But here, I'll put up the PDF of this again. Whoops, I went to the wrong spot. Boink, there we go. Oh, now you can't see the whole thing. Isn't it grand? And I'll put on the footer again before I forget, and then I will read some of these delightful comments. Some of the terrain pieces and some of the endless spells can look very much like they cut, paste, dragged their 3D modeling program. Yeah, the CAD file. It's so true. Jason, not the Jason that I told you about earlier, but local legend Jason, who's been on the channel. He talks about that. He kind of picks those things out really well, I've noticed. Shut up and take your money. Hey, I mean, I'm not very good at shutting up. You may have noticed. But if there is anything that, yeah, if I have something that you would like to get, then please. Nothing would delight me less or more. Depends on the time of day. We do need to figure out some meat dice, though, don't we?
Yeah, I think so. Because I'd buy all of them is the problem. So you would order like, I don't know, 500, 1,000.
500?
And then you'd be like, oh, we'll see how many of these we sell. And I'll say all of them.
Yes.
Just right now. I'm buying them now.
Put them into my hand.
Yeah, and then we'll show them on the channel. And then we'll be like, look at these dice. You can't buy them. Because Carson bought them.
Should we... Okay, seriously, though, should we do, like, marbled red? Right? I don't know why we're talking about this now, but now I can't not. Marbled red, right? And then white pips. And then the 6 is it a mustache or what is it? What's the
6 is could be mustache.
Okay.
Certainly could be.
Okay.
It could be just like a ham hock or something. Like you could definitely do that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
I could see that working.
But I guess what I'm torn about is like if you have marbled red dice with like white pips,
Mm-hmm.
it might be a little hard to read. Robin linked some dice that were like marbled red and white with gold pips, which are kind of cool.
The gold is often hard to read though, especially on
Yeah.
camera.
That's true.
Right. Yeah, Robin said gold pips.
It's tough.
Yeah, I was thinking like a dark red and like a pyro red marbled with white pips. And maybe they're full white, maybe they're not. I think we
Maybe
could
like a little bit of a cream white.
Yeah.
Bone-esque, but yeah.
Exactly. Like kind of like the gristle on your meat dimension. You know? Yeah. I don't know, man. I can talk to them.
I don't know what the 6 would be though. I don't know what the 6 would be.
I think a mustache would be great, but you know.
And it's just like full on me dice, essentially. Like they're no longer meat dice. It's Carson dice.
Fair. Robin says stash though.
I would buy at least 60 of them. I'm not joking.
No, I know. You would need to buy 60 for you, and then probably like how many just to give away, right?
Yeah.
Just a big T-bone. A T-bone would be cool. Although, like, then you've got a steak on the meat dice as well. The other option too is you could literally just do like a six pips as well.
Yep, that's true.
But
that's very true.
But oh man, this is tempting. And then are they square? Are they properly square like my new dice?
I think so. It's just nicer.
Man. Yeah, I think so. And then maybe kind of opaque. Like no pearls or anything, right?
Yeah.
I like that idea a lot. I like it a lot.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to reach out to them,
yeah,
do it.
Yeah, maybe I will. You know, we'll look into some pricing and stuff.
It would also be really funny if, like, somehow I do really well at the World Championships.
Yeah.
And we've already figured this out. But like, you could buy my dice online. Like advertising it. But yeah,
that would be.
That's
great.
Not gonna happen.
No, it won't be quite quick enough, but maybe not too long after it. They take a while to produce, so yeah. What's the point of meat dice? Look behind you. What's in front of the meat? A stash. I see it every week. The man makes a good point, Carson.
That's true. There's a mustache on my face. There's a mustache on my hoodie.
There's a mustache on your dice currently.
Yep.
There's a mustache on your dice tray.
There's a mustache on my little like counter, my game counter.
Your game counter, that's true.
One might even say it's my whole personality.
One might. You'd be mistaken, because you also have meat. But then, if we bring those two things together, we've arrived, Carson. We've arrived. Yeah. One might say that a meat, waiting for a meat monocle. Isn't that just a pepperoni? Isn't that where you just bite the middle out of a pepperoni and stick it in your eye?
I have pink eye now.
I don't think that's how you get pepperoni, unless there's like already, like that.
That's horrifying. Your eyeballs like hanging out.
I'll see if I can get both. No. It's too heavy. They're brand new bottles of contrast paint that I just found tucked in amongst the bits around my desk here. But I got the new Agrax Earthshade. What is that? Is that like bacon in your eye or something?
No, it's like a little origami heart that my partner made for me.
Oh.
And it says, "Screw you."
What?
No, it doesn't.
It's origami? Origami?
Yeah. Yep.
You can also get these fancy... Dang it. No, not going to work. These things are too heavy. I've got one of those... Oh, look, it's going through into the Skaven dimension for some reason. That's so weird. It's one of those artist opus dry brush thingamajiggers. Wow.
Didn't know they had that.
Yeah, he's got like I bought one of those. You can buy those things for you put a little water in a sponge and then you just kind of dip your hands in it to turn pages and stuff if you're working in an office. I got one of those and I tried to use it for dry brushing, but it didn't work at all. The sponge was not meant for that. So, but yeah, I got it at Magic Stronghold, and they sell like just the little sponges too, so you can just, if it gets too much paint in there. But James was talking to, I forget the guy's name, but you know the guy who created Artist Opus or whatever, and he does all those videos. Okay, anyway, there's an English guy who he's like the master of dry brushing, and apparently he was saying that like a lot of people use a paper towel to clean their dry brushes afterwards and stuff, or to wipe it off. And apparently there's like glue and stuff in there, and it's not great for long term. But I'm just using like really cheap makeup brushes anyway, so I don't really care. But it's pretty handy. I'm not going to Worlds. No, that's true. Thanks for pointing it out, Robin. No, as I said earlier, I was not invited. I still don't know why. I feel like they should just invite me to everything.
Yeah.
Why not?
I agree.
But yeah, man. But anyway, so I don't think we have a plan for next Tuesday. Oh no, we do. It's like the lead up to Worlds.
Yeah. Pretty much just talking about the results of PNW Masters, and then literally less than 12 hours after the Tuesday stream happens, like after it starts even, I'm stepping on a plane to Atlanta to
That's crazy.
Worlds,
so it'll be a shorter one next week too.
Yeah.
And then that Friday they're doing the reveals. So
I'll try and scream really loud as they're doing the reveals so that maybe you can hear me. Just like just that shrill screech. And that'll be how you know when they're there.
Yeah. Try and make it sound Flesh Eater Court like. And then as they're doing that, you're like, everyone at home, listen to me, I'm Carson, or whatever. And then they're like, they're not seeing this. We shot the thing in England like 2 weeks ago. We're just playing that for them. You're like, everyone at home, listen to me. I don't know why you got a crazy accent all of a sudden, but I like
down in Georgia. I just speak what I think the locals sound like.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll go perfectly well for you. Oh man!
Walk up to the bar and be like, "Hello, my dear. I'd like a beer and 2 shots of vodka."
She's like, get out, Carson.
Just leave.
Every day. Ladivicus says Rob should follow Carson there and announce his arrival like a squire in one of his character voices.
Badly play a trumpet, just
Anyway.
anyway. Oh, my dog hated that. Sorry.
Yeah. Did he? She? Yeah. Announcing Carson Whitlock of North Vancouver.
Just walk up and confidently lose my first game.
Representing the Ogama tribes of North Vancouver.
You shall address him as Sir Whitlock.
Or Lord Mustachio.
Just rolling once over and over and over again.
Yeah. I mean, oh my God. I really want to do this now. Get like a squire's uniform with like the tabard down the front, and there's just a big mustache on the front. And like get like one of those bowl cut wigs, you know, it goes down to here. Oh my God. Oh, that sounds like so much fun. I would have to get really drunk to do that though, like in front of people. But
hundreds of people.
Yeah, exactly.
It's gonna be like over 400 people.
Yeah.
No, probably more than that. There's like I think there's like 300 and something people in the championships, and that's split between like 40K, Age of Sigmar, Underworld, Spore Cry.
Right.
But then they have a whole other event as well called the Grand Narrative that they're running, which is like also a lot of people, I think, like hundreds of people.
Right.
So it's probably more than like 500 people in that hall. And then with spectators, it could be upwards of 1,000 people.
Jeez.
So have fun screaming that to that many people in person.
I mean, it really depends on the alcohol blood level, but I've done dumber things than that. Like, I've actually done more asinine things on TV. So I wouldn't put it past me, but, you know, yeah, I'm definitely not as good at that in my older age here. Carson Whitlock, master of the meat monocle, descendant of the great mustache esquire. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, actually. Like a slew of titles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Master of the meat, breaker of wind.
Guttiest of the gut busters, and like, you know what I mean, just as many things as we could add on there. Yeah. What was it? Keeper of the flesh eater dog. You know. Holly.
Keeper of a dog that sucks. How about that? It's not true.
That's not true. I know you do. Yeah. I was talking about my dog today with Roman after everyone posted puppy pics, and I was just saying, like, man, people keep promising me that he's gonna calm down, like, you know, by round 2, and he hasn't calmed down almost at all, and he's like, you know, 2 years old and however many months now, and he was like, yeah, my dog hasn't either, and he's like 2.5. And I was like, yeah, but your dog's not 100 pounds of muscle, you know? He's like, yeah, my dog weighs 8 pounds. I'm like, I'm so jealous right now. I made a mistake. But he's so sweet. Can't say that, Robin, but yeah, I am that loud. Yeah, man. Anyway, that really digressed, didn't it? Like, full on.
Yeah, that'll probably be what next week's stream is. A short one that's just like a bit of a send-off.
Just
and
all
then
digression?
The week after that, I'll be dead, probably. So, don't really have to worry about it.
Hey, so if you want to be the new co-host of AOS Trash,
put your applications in now.
Put your applications in, you know, that way when he inevitably dies of fatigue. I don't even know what you were insinuating, but
It's a lot of things that could happen.
Glory points.
Yeah, too many glory points.
Too much biscuits and gravy.
That's a genuine concern.
Dude.
Or chicken and waffles is apparently Atlanta's thing.
Yes. But apparently they also have killer biscuits.
Well, I'll just do all of those things together in one meal, and we'll see if I survive.
You will die. You better start like exercising your gut now, or your stomach. Like a food fighter. High Lord of the Order of the Shining Dome. That's another thing to add to your list of great achievements and titles. Hit a Waffle House. Yeah, that's... Man, I'm so jealous. But bring your own maple syrup. Right? Or maybe just don't have it.
I don't think they'll let me.
If you... Yeah, not on carry-on. I mean, it can be under like 100 milliliters, I think, right? I forget what it is.
Imagine how silly that would be, walking through customs with like just the actual legal limit of maple syrup. It's like, I have to have some wherever I go. Like I have to bring some with me. As a Canadian, it's mandatory.
Well, I used to work in a souvenir company, and we sold 50 milliliter bottles of AAA grade maple syrup in like maple leaf shaped bottles, and yeah, it was a thing. They don't care. It's a Waffle House. I think he meant on the plane, or maybe not. Maybe not.
Unless the plane's a Waffle House. That'd be pretty cool.
That would be great. It's not probably the safest, traveling internationally or through the air, but
just a catapult with a Waffle House. Here's a parachute.
I mean, the food will be better.
Yeah, that's true. I've heard that. So we're getting way off topic now, but I've heard that one of the reasons that airline food, or like food on an airplane, is so bad is because at that altitude your taste buds actually react to food differently. So
I can see that.
Things that you would normally like taste terrible, and vice versa as well.
That's interesting. I had like a chef's salad, and I know it's all the garbage parts or whatever, but I had one. I got bumped up to business class or something like that at one point for free, and I had this chef salad, and it was good. But maybe that was just because I was riding high. So the show after Worlds is either a victory party or 1 hour of Rob making entertaining excuses why Carson is not on the show. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah.
Because he sucks, because he's bald, because he has dumb facial hair, he's too quiet, and he's also too loud at the same time somehow.
I mean, I should be writing this down.
Yep.
Yeah. Help me out, everyone. It's like a bus station bathroom that sells breakfast. Oh, God. That's... Oh... Yeah. Oh no, you're not. I know where you are, Robin. I don't know if you want me to say on stream, but you're not in Atlanta. So, but I guess you're not that far from Atlanta, so maybe you've been there. But yeah, my cousin was there for a marine biology like conference or something at one point. He was just like, the food is legit. So, yeah. Not the healthiest.
I'm excited. I bet. Yeah.
But that's why it probably tastes so good, But anyway, enough digression. Until next week, where it will be all digression, all the way down. Oh, that's cool. That's good. That's cool, Robin. So, thanks to everyone for joining us. We had fun. I hope you guys like, and get a chance to try out Saga of Glory. Please, once again, let us know what you think. We will be updating it, and yeah, I had a blast, and yeah, catch us or catch me next Friday. So not this week, not the 10th or whatever this Friday is, but the 17th. And yeah, everyone cheer on Carson. You're not allowed to cheer on anyone else, even if they're a friend of the show. And yeah, thanks to everyone for hanging out. It was a blast, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye.